What are we jamming on now to close out 2023? Jay, what are you jamming on?
So first of all, I finished Starfield. Super happy about that. I finally finished it. It was a great game. I still feel the same way I felt before.
What does finished mean? Does finished mean like Skyrim finished? I'm going to be playing it for another decade, or
potentially. So I finished the main story campaign. Finally 100, and I think my year in Wrapped for Xbox said like 100. I put 148 hours into this or so, but into Starfield. But I finished the main story campaign.
They didn't even email me, Jay.
They didn't even.
Yeah, Xbox didn't even send that to me. That's hilarious.
Yeah, they're like, come on, bro, get your numbers up.
Although I found out Meta's doing it too. Meta is doing it too, and I haven't gotten that either. I do have a very, very aggressive junk filter, but I'm upset about that. Actually, I saw someone else post it, and I was like, I fucking was commenting on a few of them. I'm like, where did you get this? Like, I need this information. And they like sent me a link. I go to the link, and it's just it's broken, like because they have to like generate it and send it to you first before the link works. I guess.
Oh no, I could send you a link, and it'll take you to yours
for Xbox.
Like,
maybe, yeah. I'm saying for Meta. Why can't I say that
word?
Meta. Whatever.
Because it's weird.
Facebook. Fuck Facebook. Stop bullshitting me. It's fucking Facebook.
So yeah, basically for Starfield, the main story campaign, plus all the, as I mentioned, all the side stuff that I did before. So finished that, and I, credits rolled. That was satisfying. It ended in a cool way that I was not expecting, to kind of happen. And so still want to start a new game plus when more content comes out. But because there's so many other hot games that I absolutely have to get to, I got to like pause it right now and be done with it. And one of those things that kept pulling my eyes towards it when I was playing Starfield was Sea of Stars. Have you heard of this at all?
I've heard a lot about it. It's an RPG with like an old kind of 16-bit vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a fun RPG, and it actually just won Indie Game of the Year at the Game Awards. So pretty cool to see. It's on Game Pass, and it was something that looked really exciting. I wanted to play it before the award, and so that just heightened my awareness of it. And I'm about 3 hours in. I've gone through the opening area, and got my game up. It's turn based, so it's fun. And I'm venturing forth, but it's super cool, man. It's really exciting, and I cannot wait to play it. But honestly, it's been hard because of freaking Call of Duty, man. This game, oh my gosh! We talked about Call of Duty last episode and my affinity for it and my experience with it. But specifically, like I've been playing through the campaign, but mainly I've been playing through the campaign because they've been good, but also because I know that that'll unlock more stuff for the zombie mode, which is what I've been playing. Entirely zombies. This mode essentially took over my Christmas break. And, I will concede part of this is due to the fact that I'm playing with friends. One of my freshman year roommate, friend of mine from high school and middle school, he's playing it. He's a longtime Call of Duty fan. So him and some friends, we've all been playing this 3-player zombie mode together. And it's essentially replaced the fun that I had in ESO when I was doing dungeons and being able to say, hey, 3 or 4 man kind of raid, let's go in, let's do this, maybe it's a 15-minute, maybe 40-minute kind of experience, but let's go in and get gear and see what we can do. And zombies is kind of that for me. It's fun. It's to the point where I would wake up and I knew I only had like an hour or so to kill before I had to start doing stuff. And I'm like, all right, let me just even jump in. Something I didn't really enjoy doing with Call of Duty, but just jumping in with randoms and like playing the zombie mode. Even if we're not communicating on mic, like I'm just like, all right, let's go for it. It's that level of fun for me. So I've completed the freaking battle pass. I don't even care about the battle pass, but because the battle pass came with the game, like I've completed it.
What the fuck is a battle pass?
So it's like, oh my gosh. Pretty much it's a way to keep you playing if you pay for it. But for me, it just unlocks different skins, different weapons, and different in-game currency for me. And so funny enough, like I have these awesome skins that I'm using in the game, which are great. Like I look like a super crazy operative, and I love them. But because of the currency just happened to be associated with it, I just bought a Skeletor skin. So now I'm running around with like a golden freaking Emperor Skeletor operator
like
costume.
Licensed Skeletor?
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure, legit licensed Skeletor with like he's got like normal Skeletor, then he's got like a red. outfit version than
what you need to get is you need to get battle damage Skeletor. That's the legit Skeletor with the chest
with
thing
with the X's and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they're not damaging me. I mean, that's the
Well, you should still, even if it's just purely cosmetic, you would want to look like you've been through hell, even if you have not been through hell.
That would be fun. But yeah, it's like I said, I'm shocked. I'm having so much fun, but also like if I wasn't playing with friends, it would probably be less exciting, but still fun. But it's a different level once you're coordinating and kind of running and deciding what to do together. So that's really been taking my time. But I will be jumping back in the Sea of Stars as the break ends and we go back to quote unquote normal life and start working again next week. So
yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I heard they were was it Axe of the Blood God is a big RPG podcast, and that was one of their big, better ones of the year RPG, like for hardcore RPG people, of course.
Yeah, it's funny because like. For the kids to sit down and start watching me play, like my wife is huge into what's it called, Coral Island, and that's on Game Pass. Cozy, kind of in the vein of Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, kind of a thing.
I don't even know what it is, but it sounds like Animal Crossing.
Yeah, but more. Obviously you can do more, and they have their twists and things. But like that's Courtney's type of game, and the kids love my youngest kids loved watching her play. But like when I was playing Sea of Stars, they were watching me like, oh, what's happening there? You've got some action. What's going on? So it's fun, and I will be playing that. I also got Baldur's Gate 3, but I have not started playing yet. So because I heard there's an issue with like people losing saves, and so
I've heard a little bit of Xbox shit.
Yeah, because it just came out. But that's a game that Courtney and I are going to play together. So as soon as they fix that or patch that up, we're going to start jumping into that together as like a...
We haven't, I honestly haven't, we haven't touched it in weeks, man. It's not that it's bad, it's just, it's...
You were talking it up. You were like, I thought...
Yeah, it's not, it's just...
For months.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's not that it's bad, it's just, it's so...
Is it deep?
It's one of those games where the second you stop playing it, for any reason... It's really hard to you pick it back up and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What I mean? There's just so much in it. And if that next thing isn't right there in front of you that you need to do, if you've walked away for any length of time, like this happened in Divinity Sin, I remember the first one. Mm-hmm. And that's part of that is why that fell off for us the first time we tried playing it, God knows how long ago, on PS 4 or whatever that was. Like, it is. It's something about it is not...
Is it too nerdy, too knowledgeable? Like, you got to retain so much?
I guess. Back,
you're like, right. I forgot that there was supposed to be a fruit near the tree of the garden.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that. I guess maybe that, it's somewhere that kind of nugget in there, tucked somewhere in that category. It's not. It's not. I mean, it is heavy fantasy lore for sure, but it tries to really humanize those archetypes. Those fantasy archetypes and turn them into people. Like, you're not, that's like when Jab and I were talking about, like, we started that second game. Like, I'm playing the second game. Like, I don't even know how, like, we tried to because I was so early on and didn't understand it yet. But, like, there's no, even I don't give a shit how many branching paths there are. And the game has 1 billion. I understand that. So if you do play, it will be probably nearly impossible to have the same experience, even if you're trying to, because there's just so many branching paths. But they are characters. Like, they have full developed backstories. All your companions and stuff. It's not, they have like a very specific thing going on with them, and they're not, I don't know. I know this is a wavering explanation of this, but like it's just very... Yeah, everything is very specific, and I just don't see how experiencing it a second time would be any fun at all, because it is, I don't know. It's too big I'm not going to be able to express this the right way, but it's I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Wait, just to make sure I understand. There's so many branching paths, but you feel like you would still experience the same thing, like the same.
I feel like it wouldn't be interesting.
Like the
it'd be like here's the thing. It'd be like,
is it like me and you going on a trip to Texas in a car versus your mom and my son going on a trip, different people, different stories, but going on the same trip kind of a thing? Or is it more than that? Or you just can't even?
Yeah, I don't think it's that exact analogy. That's a very interesting analogy though, Jay. It's like I'm trying to compare it to a movie, like because if there are movies you watch and you can watch a million times, even though like I can recite Major League to you without the movie being on, but I'll watch that shit right now because you're like so invested in the characters and enjoy them. So I guess that might be as simple as that. Is I don't enjoy any of those characters enough to want to ride that ride again. It's just not like there. It's an incredibly deep game. It's incredibly interesting. There's a million branching paths. It's everything you could ask of an RPG probably, but maybe almost to a fault. And two, something about it feels detached. It doesn't. While they're all interesting characters, I don't feel invested in them. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't have an explanation for why I feel that way. Maybe it's just me because many people don't. I seemingly feel that way. In any event, we haven't played it. I keep wanting to play it just because like I feel like I have a responsibility to play it and finish it. Partly because of the time invested already. Partly because it's the game of the year and it's exactly the kind of game of the year I would want to be game of the year. So. Right. I feel like
so
I
why
owe
aren't
it.
You? Yeah,
right, yeah. I feel like I owe it to finish it, but it definitely. I don't want to play that anywhere near as much as I want to play Asgard's Wrath 2.
So clearly, it sounds like Asgard's Wrath 2 is your game of the year over.
Well, I don't know.
Are you willing to amend that? Are you willing to amend that?
I mean, I don't. Game of the year, I don't have one. Yeah, I don't even think about it really. I guess. I mean, just my individual enjoyment. Yeah. What would be my game of the year? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. What have I played the most? Would be Asgard's Wrath 1 probably, but that's from like 3 years ago, so that doesn't qualify for what we're really trying to say. I'm 100% certain that's what will be my most at the top of my thing if Meta ever sends it to me. But that's only because, obviously, 2's only been out for a few weeks. Yeah, I mean, as far as, like, quality and, like, it probably is Asgard's Wrath 2, just because, again, this is the first time that on that platform you have something like this, and it's I mean, of course, obviously, I have a whole fucking thing we're going to get to about it. Whoa. Yeah, whoa. Just fucking whoa that is on that platform in VR. A mobile phone basically is fucking nuts. So yeah, that would probably be my game of the year if I had to say. Okay. Before we get into that though, is there anything beyond Call of Duty?
That is it, man.
That
is it these days. I mean, I played some Halo Infinite, was kicking butt, but it is what it is there. Loving the modes as usual. It's good, but pretty much all COD.
Word. Okay, so then, yeah, let's fucking talk Asgard's Wrath 2. That's certainly what I've been playing pretty much nonstop. I dropped the 15th, and I was really trying to. I came very close to 100%ing that first one, but like the difficulties that I already described about like crashing and stuff at times, it just like. It's just, and it is like just the bottom of the barrel of the remaining. Like I was, I had to be at 99.3%. I was trying to find the thing I was actually trying to find last were these keys, and I don't even need the keys. They're just part of the 100%ing is finding
checking the box
exactly. The thing is, there's no way. The way it divides up its. Like you've done this many things in this area. It's still like 5 areas, and like it's it's just it's to look for a key in that much space. And like,
do that.
it's not. It was not worth it. And I was
That's why I don't 100% games normally.
Yeah, me either.
I look at those tasks and I'm like, no, thank you, pass.
I mean, I got to really, but I enjoyed the world so much, and the mechanics are all fucking fantastic. So I thought I was gonna, and like I said, I got most of it done. But yeah, some of the minute stuff I didn't finish. Anyways, I deleted it off 120 gigabytes. I was like, my computer was literally like, I'm out of space. I was like, I don't want to find those keys, and I need that 120 gigabytes anyways. I'm just gonna delete it and move on with life. So. Yeah. I jumped into this right away on the 15th, of course. It's all the good stuff from 1, but bigger and better. So they did like a fantastic job of taking the things that you like about the first one, keeping them, retaining them, improving on the things that like maybe were a little friction filled. And maybe even losing some of the lesser. There's no key shit. Actually, they got rid of the keys entirely, which is funny. Honestly,
they're like 0.5% of players.
There's all these keys. Maybe these keys are stupid. Yeah, and that's funny. I didn't think of that, but I that exact connection that I hadn't finished that, and that they were gone from this. But I did have the thought at one point where like a more appealing chest was found the other day, and I was like, I'm surprised that they don't have keys for this. It's 100% them looking at data, probably. That's hilarious. Yeah. In any event.
Everything's data-driven these days, Josh.
Especially on a game that big, for sure, yeah. Yeah, dude, so the thing, and I described this with the first one, but what's amazing about it is it's always forcing you to think. It's never just whack. And like... And I played it for a while. Like the arena, it still has like very traditional arena battles where you enter space, you can see it coming from a mile away. Like I'm walking into this expansive space. I know like it does this like these flames come up on the edge that confine you to the battle, and like you just see it coming, so you know it's going to happen. And I played a lot of it just kind of trying to whack and not being strategic about it because the difficulty level didn't force me to. And then I've gotten into a place where like some of them are against like vastly higher levels and like relative to where you're at. And, I've even seen some shit on the subreddit and stuff. People are like, what the fuck, man? Like I was just whooping ass. And I walk into this one and I'm just like vaped. And I'm like, and it's because they want you to think. And it has this, and this wasn't in the first one. And this was such a good addition. They have this elemental system. So you have, the fire, wind, earth, water deal, and they also have another one, a life-death one, and like you go to the menu, and at any time you can look at it if you fucking forget it somehow, but like it has the 4 elementals in a circle, and you see what it has an arrow pointing to the next one, so you know what hurts that and what it's weak to, and then the life-death one is next to it, and those are just kind of separate. So there's it's like a multi-level kind of thing. It's not just the one system, and I think that's interesting, and it makes you think too, but you go into these battles, and the enemies will have a colored armband to them that corresponds to one of the elements or the life or death deal. And so you walk, I played a ton, and now when I've gotten to the point now, I walk into those battles, and immediately I'm like, I'm taking the time to go to my menu. And the thing is, you go into some battles, and they're not all just water. Sometimes it's like, some of them are earth, some of them are wind. And like, you gotta like, then look at what those enemies are and make a choice. What am I going... And you have 2 weapons, too. You have an axe that's a ranged weapon and a sword that also has a ranged capability but is more of a melee deal. But you decide what... And you have these runes that you find that you put on... You adorn the thing with. It's super simple. You just take them from the menu and drop them on your thing. It's not like a crafting system necessarily. But yeah, it's 100% worth it. And it feels good, too, because when you come out of there and you start employing that strategy... you visually can see the difference and the increased damage it's doing. And like, it's always a math problem. It's always a thought experiment on like how to approach this, even the big battle stuff, and that is just so much for me, so much more fun than, and there is all this shit too. There's like your companions in particular have skills that will they will like, create a weak point on an enemy, one of their arms or their leg or their neck or something that you can, if you are really into the physical slashing and like trying the sword play of it that you can exploit, and it will stun them or hurt them more or whatever. So like that's in there too, the moment to moment strategy action shit if you want it. But honestly, it's a lot for me, and I have a hard time. I'm getting better at it just because of repetition, but like that is a hard part for me to really engage. So having this kind of more macro strategy approach or discovering that was a real fun thing, you know, for me, and really increased my enjoyment. And none of this shit was present in the first one, like I said. So that was a huge addition to this thing. So there's that shit. There's and then, you know, the non-combat based puzzle stuff that this is in the first one, the switching to God mode from first person to the big expanded view. And like, and they still have all the hunt stuff. Every time you find one of those, there's like this treasure hunt, these statues that you can find tucked away in the environment, you know. So there's like these simple treasure hunt things that are super fun to do every time you get one of those things. But those are all like, you have to, like the one I just found, getting the second companion, or just got to recruiting the second companion, was super cool. It was like this huge dragon or serpent skeleton in this space, and a lot of the bones had fallen out of it and off of it and stuff, and you had to, your little character had to get up onto the spine and work its way all the way into the skeleton, and that's where the companion was. And that required switching. You have to like switch in and out a lot to like even take same pieces that you might have put one place, and you're like, oh, I think I need to move that piece over here to be able to get to the next part, you know. And there's this like, it's like a bi-level thought puzzle just to progress through this one little thing in one little area. And that was like fucking crack to me. So it's so much, so enjoyable, that stuff. And then and it still has fewer companions. I think that was a good choice too. There's only 5 in this relative to the 8 in the first one, because I think it condenses more of the mechanics.
8? Oh my gosh. Yeah,
and they all had, you know, one of them could push a block, one of them could fucking implement this little altar and create platform, and like all the and they kind of condensed that a little bit into these 5, and I think that was smart. But it still requires you, and I don't think you could. No, you could. That was part of it. But you'll have to, like, you get into a room and you see a space, and it's inherently a puzzle, and you look at it and go, okay, there's one of those blocks that my cat can throw an axe at and make disappear. And I'm probably going to need to do that, and then I'm going to have to throw an axe through that, and you can do this thing with your axe where you throw it, and then you hit the trigger, and you can change its direction. So you can throw it into a space that's enclosed and hit a switch over here, you know, with like a side action, you know. So there's all this, again, there's just so many environmental puzzles. But you'll do that with one character, and you're like, I'm going to need to do that. And while that block's still disappeared with that one character's ability, switch to this,
switch to another one.
Switch to this falcon character I just got that can make these platforms raise and lower, or he can also fly your character with your sword, has like a whip mechanic to it that can like hold on to things and pull things. So you'll have to like swing up to him and he'll carry you to something. It's kind of more of a coast. You have to, like, if you want to go up with him, you have to find these updraft things that will actually push you up because he can't lift your heavy ass up. So, you know, there'll be this combination of these 2 follower mechanics to solve a puzzle. And like, again, it's just so fucking satisfying to like see the space, work that all out, and then work through it. And then, you know, you have errors, of course. You're like, oh, fuck, you got to tweak it a little bit. And like that, again, that's just my management system. It's so fucking good. It is so satisfying. And they also added for this one, and this is what when I read in that review that Upload VR, or IGN, one of them did, or a preview, they were talking about this being so satisfying, and they were so right. Each one of the followers, can be switched between their like true natural state, like the one is a panther and the other one I found so far is a falcon, between their natural state and like this kind of humanoid companion that will battle with you, you know. So they can, in their animal state, they all have like a kind of fast travel-y mechanic or movement mechanic to them that can change the way you are able to traverse the environment. And the Panther can be ridden. That's the first one you get. And it is just, they did such a good job with like the way it feels to ride it, it's because there's these huge desert I told you it's ancient Egypt is the setting. There's these huge desert expanses that these first few levels, at least, that I've gone through have to them. And like when you're first in them without that Panther, it's like, fuck, man. Like, and it's so commendable that they did that to you to make you feel how much of an upgrade this is to have a mode of transportation in this environment that is like, it's like, God damn, like I gotta get all the way over there. Fuck, it's gonna take forever, So they make you feel that and in turn appreciate the upgrade, and that was a good choice, I think. But yeah, it just feels so good to do that. And there's all these additional mechanics you can do when you're riding her. There's this great dismount thing. Like you run with her, and you can hit B, and you like dismount over top, and you can like drop into like if you see like a group of enemies that you want to attack, you can fucking charge in there with her, and like run one over, and then jump over the fucking front of her and start battling, and then switch her to her humanoid. It all integrates so well. The battle and the like the non-battle stuff. So fucking well done. It's such a good game. So fucking good. Nice. Yeah. And it has and this is the real Skyrim equivalent thing to it, I think. Well, Skyrim didn't first of all, it was on first person, and they didn't have the companions in the same way where they like unlock these things. But I think Skyrim still tried to do this a little bit where you need something and you'll have to come back here later, and you don't even realize there's a POI here yet because you don't have the thing that like unlocks that as a POI. So with these companions, you'll pass things and you're like, I don't know, I can't interact with this because I clearly don't have some sort of skill that right. or capability that something is going to give me later to employ that. So you'll pass all these things and go through these areas, and you'll like essentially, as far as you can in this moment, 100% something, move on, or even like I hit a stumbling block that I broke through last night for a while, so I was like kind of stuck, and like when you get stuck in this, like you'll try some things like fuck, it's not working out. I'm irritated, but I don't want to stop playing, and like there's so much stuff that you'll just go back to an area that you already been through and just look for new shit, because this is very Skyrim equivalent in that like there's always another quest. I don't give a shit how many quests you've done. If you search the area hard enough, you'll find something new to do and be tasked with, and there's just a billion fucking quests to finish, and you'll just never do them all probably. So when you get stuck, you'll just go back and do stuff and find new stuff. And like either way, there's no way you're going to be able to finish an area your first time through it. So you unlock a new character like I did last night, which is what that big stuck point was that huge skeleton and getting to this new Falcon follower. And you're like immediately once you're taught its new mechanics, you're like all these things flood into your mind.
Like I can now do that.
Yeah, I can do that. I got to go back and do that. I got to go back, and like it's just like, oh fuck. So exactly. Whatever they discovered in video gaming that makes us do that, we both just did it. That like emotional outburst we just had, that's the thing. And it does that while you're playing, of course. And that is really good game design, because it is incredibly satisfying to have that all unlock in your mind and then immediately just start going back and checking those new boxes off that you left unchecked. And my, of course, ass needs all the boxes checked.
It's funny to me, like hearing you talk about that, because the game series where that's most prominent in my mind is the Lego games. Like, yeah. Because like me and the kids would play through so many of those, and you would have just different types of Legos. Like, for example, like the Jedi, like the most recent Jedi ones, like the Jedi all have certain abilities and they can like raise and lift things, but the Sith can do different things. They can make things explode. But then like certain people that are like, I forget what they were, like maybe bounty hunters or something, they can actually pick locks, and these other things can actually, they move the gold block. So every time you saw a gold block, you're like, oh, I need the specific type of character. So I don't know, it's employed so many times throughout the different Lego games. I'm immediately like, I recognize that.
That sounds like I would enjoy that for sure. You know what that was making me think of is that tourist game. I feel, and I honestly, it's so long ago I can't exactly remember. I just know I had so much fun playing that. But I feel like there was that stuff where you like had to get new skills, or there was something that would unlock environmental things that you previously could not engage. And yeah, I enjoyed that very much. There's a Lego game. They released a Lego game on Quest, and like that sounds like an amazing VR kind of thing. Like it's a AR thing, an augmented reality thing, or mixed reality thing, to my knowledge. So that's probably good. I keep seeing commercials for it too, and it looks kind of interesting. Okay, so just generally speaking, all fucking, there's all these collectathons, like these passive collectathons too, that like you're always on the lookout for. So you're never disengaged from the environment because the collectathon goals are desirable enough that you're always incentivized to finish them, and they're huge and in quantity number. Like there's this 150 statue thing, and like you're always looking for one of those fucking statues. Like fuck, where are they? They could be anywhere, and these worlds are huge, so. You're always engaged in the environment, and that's a good byproduct of that mechanic too. So yeah, there's just incredibly engaging video game. It's so fucking good. There's just no part of it where I'm just like, fuck that, I don't want to deal with it. And like, there's always something in one of these games you're like, I fucking hate, fuck that, I'm not dealing with that, And like, there's just nothing, and everything in it is just like, oh yes, I want that, I want to finish that, I need to finish that. So fucking good. And so, I talked about this with the first one when I first got to the boss battle. So I'm sure in their data they were able to discern this too. I haven't had like one of the big like chapter ending battle. I'm not even that far, even as much as I've played. Probably at this point, I don't know. In fucking a few weeks, man, I probably played. I'm so bad at guessing this, but I don't know. Somewhere 30 hours. I don't know. I played a shit ton already. But I haven't gotten to one of the major boss battles. But I had my first, it's kind of like a side quest deal where I had one kind of in the main quest too, but it felt more mini bossy than like a real huge thing. But I had to go fight this fucking scorpion. They're called Death Stalkers. I posted the video of it, and it's like a 9-minute fucking thing. And like, it's like you find these two god characters, like the one of the undercurrent, I don't know, quest things that you're dealing with in this game is you meet Horus, the god. He's blind, and like he's like, I think he's like the main kind of like, I don't know, he's the catalyst for like the main story. Like I forget which god it is now, but took Horus' sight when he was young, and Horus spent all this time like depressed and like thinking he couldn't fulfill his destinies or goals because he was blind, and like you are kind of lining up with him at a time where you do something for him that makes him realize he still is capable of fulfilling his destiny, so you're like, he has this outpost that he's been trying to put together to like orchestrate this fucking plan to take out these fucking gods that are his adversaries, and you start with him. There's him and his sidekick and one other little court minion, and you're going out, and like when I found Ptah, that was like the first one, and he becomes the blacksmith at the outpost, and then I found these two other gods that are like the one's like a hunting and fishing enthusiast, and then his dickhead brother is kind of like a chubby cook guy, so they all have like their kind of like skill set that they bring to the group, and they all give you their own little side quests, and when I found the two brothers, the cook one gives you this bait, and he's like, because they were in the scorpion den is where you found them, so they have this particular disposition towards all the scorpions that are out there. So he creates this, like, the Death Stalkers are kind of like the king scorpions, and like they even did a good job when you first are in the scorpion lair and you first encounter this thing. You have this like interlude where you first come in and you see one and have like a brush with one, and it's such a good presentation of like how epic this thing is and how huge it is and how devastating it is. So they did such a good job of like creating this goal for you and then working it out and kind of spacing out or piecemealing out the road to battling it, so they did a really good job with that. But he creates this bait for you, and you know where one is in the desert. They like live underneath the sand, and they create this kind of fucking shit above the sand where you know where they are, but you can't lure them out unless they'll just come up and kill you. You can't get them to come up and battle without this bait. So he gives you this bait. So you go out, you're like, okay, I know where it's at. So you take this bait out. You go into this huge fucking open desert area, and you see the fucking thing moving around into the sand. So you're like, okay, fuck, it's gonna be a big deal. But you take the fucking bait out, and you walk up to this fucking thing, and you like throw it out in the sand, and like it fucking scurries around and then comes up and eats the fucking, and it's like distracted with the bait for a second. And immediately you're like, oh, fuck, and you start fucking trying to, whatever. I have no idea how to engage it or kill it. It's a huge scorpion, so of course it's armored, like, and it has the big pinchers and shit. And like, you start whacking at it and shit, and then once it finishes the bait, it like acknowledges you and bears down on you. And like, dude, I can't explain it. It's a level of epic that like, I can't believe they can pack into a video game. It's just, it's so. And it's so involving and like, I don't know, I know I'm in a video game, but holy fuck does it feel like a deal, man. It just feels like a fucking deal. It's so big and crazy and so much fucking fun, but so it feels so high. I guess high stakes is what I'm going for. It feels so high stakes in a way that I've never gotten from a video game. It always feels like I know I can do this again, Yeah. And there's plenty of, this is like all the modern games. It is, you die, you just go to the other. It's not like, there's no real punitive thing. It's not
punitive, yeah.
It actually, in one way, this game kind of is a little hard. I don't play enough modern games maybe to know how prevalent this is. But it does, if you use items in battle, your consumables and stuff, when you die, you don't get those back. It doesn't just reboot you to where you last saved. You go back to that point, but you lost all the shit you tried to invest into that fight. So it is semi-punitive in that regard.
Okay, yeah, that's different.
So it's that. Yeah, there is some level of like, fuck, I used an awful lot of shit. Can't do that again. And like, yeah, the first one, I died the first time, and like, I had only gotten 2 of the baits. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go back and buy another one of the baits if I even want to do this again on the second try. So yeah, there is some level of stakes for sure in that regard, but. Yeah, dude, fucking, I was battling the thing, and like, it took me a while to even figure out how to deal with it all, of course. And then like, once I got, you kind of like, you use the whip thing on the sword to like pull his pinchers down, and it gets lodged in the sand. You can run up and whack him, and you do that a few times, and he starts using the tail to hit you. And then once you have his meter down to a point, whatever, a quarter or something, you can then grapple the tail and get up onto his back. And like, my initial instinct is, because I've already done this to you in a few of both the first game and this one, where you get up onto its back and you're just hitting its head. And like, dude, I am fucking minutes of like multiple times seeing what I have to do, I think, getting up onto its back and like hitting everything, dude. Fucking turning around trying to hit the tail, and like hitting the fucking head, stabbing everything, and like, it would just knock me off. No damage done. I'm like, and like, it happened so many fucking times in this battle. I'm like, what? And like, it's so exhausting. I've been going for 9 minutes. Like, think about one of these
the game off.
Dude. Like, it's fucking just so long you've been going, it's VR, so it's physical too. You're like, I'm not just like, my fingers aren't tired. I am tired. I am like, especially a few times into it, you're on his back. You are like physically like really fucking lurching, trying to like, you get into it, dude. Like, trying to fucking actually do damage to this thing that's not actually in your room. And like, yeah, dude, I was fucking so exhausted. And like, dude, when I killed it, I didn't know how I killed it. I still don't know. I've killed a second one since, because they of course have things you can fucking farm off them that are valuable. And I still even killed the second one. I don't know exactly what I did. Like,
does it not tell you when you're doing damage? Is it one of those things?
No, I mean, it's VR. It is probably telling me, but it's VR, and I am fucking like high octane, swinging my arms around and shit. Like, you can't. It's not. You can't. It's not the same.
There's not like a meter. It doesn't give.
He has a meter above him, yes. But when you're on top of him stabbing him, you don't. You're not looking at the meters above him. You're not looking at his meter. You're like looking what you're doing. You're looking at your hands. That's one of the things about VR that's so incredible. It's like, it's so involved that you don't. It's you. That's maybe what I've been describing in the macro. Like, it doesn't feel like a video. It's so good and big and epic. You're not playing a video game. You are able to. It's not even you're choosing to suspend belief. You are forced to suspend belief because it's so hard and so physically involved that you lose the UI. You lose it, and you're just trying to do the thing. You're just physically trying to do the thing and do it right. It is crazy. It's crazy as fuck. That's why VR is nuts. So yeah, I killed the thing twice. I don't know fucking how I did, but yeah, and that's just the first one of those really big ones that I'm sure this game will be filled with. That it's so good. So nice. Good. So Asgard's Wrath 2 is a good video game. I recommend. I went to Meow Wolf in Vegas, dude. It was so funny to me that we had that long conversation about it, and Amy and I were in Vegas for a wedding, and I don't know if... I don't think I mentioned it to her. I don't see why I would have. But she said something about Meow Wolf. Someone said something about Meow Wolf or something. And we were like,
what?
Fuck, I looked it up and like it's one of the, it's in like a few places. It's in, I think Colorado, like maybe Denver. It's in Vegas, maybe one or two other places. They have these installations, but I went to it, dude. And so, whoa. So when you looked it up, did you see any, when you were Googling it that day, how much did you look at?
I just a little bit. I didn't go super deep.
Okay, man.
But what you went there?
It's
Explain.
It is. I don't even know. I'm not even sure someone, if you're not on drugs, you can really grasp what it is. It's like
a crazy funhouse.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Funhouse. Funhouse is a good comp. That's a good analogy. It's like, so the one in Vegas, it's in this like one of those like fucking, I don't even know what to call. They're like these.
It's like a mega mart or like some kind of
right.
Yes. Confusing.
Well, that's the entrance of it. That's like the facade of it. That's not even what it is. But I'm saying like where it's at in Vegas. It's at this building that has like a bunch of restaurants. There's like a Spencer's type story. It's like a young hip hangout place with like, it's got a bar in the middle. They have, crazy ass rides you can ride, like, but are kind of stationary. It's like a technology ride of some kind. There's like art installations all over the space that make it look kind of funky and interesting and young and hip and blah, blah, blah. And like, oh yeah, again, all these different types of stores, like crazy ass Dippin' Dot type ice cream joint. Like it's just very forward progressive entertainment space, for
very immersive.
Yep, right. Sure. Yeah. any buzzword you want, any buzz, whatever word you want to use probably applies. So it's on like half of the building is this Meow Wolf thing. So yes, you walk, like it looks, when I first walked in, I really thought it was a grocery store. I walked in and like, I didn't know that's what I didn't look at anything. Like Amy looked it up and booked the tickets. I didn't look at anything for it. I just knew it was interesting. I was like, sure, I'll go, whatever. So like we walk into this like place, like the lobby kind of, or main area of it. And the entire left side looks like a grocery store. A weird looking grocery store, but in this place it would be a weird grocery store. So it's not out of place and looking weird. But like, so we like walk up to it. I'm like, and I didn't even know it's where we're going. And like, there's like a lot, like a queue out front. And I'm like, God damn, why is there a queue for a grocery store? Why do they even have a grocery store here? And like you walk into it and like you start looking around and like,
oh man,
you start looking at the products and like it's full of products, but all of them are just slightly weird. They have like, I don't know, like the bags of beef jerky and stuff, and they say weird things on them that are just a little bit fucking off. And like, it's like when I described that video store where I got the Beauty and the Beast tape. Like you're in it and you're like, can I buy this stuff? Like, what is this?
What is happening?
Yeah. So like, it's got this whole facade and like you start walking around and like, it's unguided. You walk in, there is a person there. She's like, do you have any questions? And you're like, no, I've never been here before. I don't have any. What would my question be? And she's like, and I forget, she had like something when you said no to her that was like clearly like company speak. I can't remember what it was. I wish I could. But like, basically it was kind of like you'll figure it out, be inquisitive kind of thing. Like, don't be scared of anything or whatever, And like, so, you start walking around and like, there's coolers in the back and like some of the coolers just have weird shit in them and you're kind of looking in, you open the door, you look in, you're like, okay, that's fucking weird. And then you get to one cooler and you realize that this cooler is a passage. So you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go in and see what this is. And like you walk in the cooler and it like goes, all this weird shit's going on in there. And then it just opens up into this space that's like bananas, like a fucking acid trip and a half. And it's like, I don't even know where or what to call any of it. It's just like all this crazy shit, multi-level staircases, other things to walk in, crawl through, find, look at. It's very, did you ever go to, it's probably, I think you were gone by the time it came, but did you ever go to Sleep No More in New York?
Sleep
Okay.
No More.
Sleep No More, also very cool. Sleep No More, it took one of those warehouse district, meatpacking district buildings, and like, dude, like 5 floors. And it was a Shakespearean Macbeth, I think it was. It took an entire multi-floor space and turned it into an interactive theater experience where all these actors were running around acting out moments from Macbeth amongst you, and like people were just free to wander, and like the spaces, like the set deck was insane, dude. Like I probably went 4 or 5 times. The one time I spent, you have like maybe 2 hours in the space, and it doesn't, like, no one is really, I don't remember anyways, anyone like coming up like, you got to go, you know, like there's no one watching you, at least to that degree that I ever experienced. So I don't know how it always ended up being inside a 2 hour kind of, I just don't know. It's like a master class in like live event design, because you would do it forever and like you just kind of get tired of it eventually, and like you're like, and you just somehow end up outside. It doesn't make sense. It was insane. But like I spent the entire time I was there, the one time I found this room with all these books, and I was just sitting in this chair reading all these books in the space with like weird shit written in them, you know? And like, dude, there's, you know, it's like very, like you go once, you can't even see everything. Like the shit's happening at random times and random places. The actors come and go and move, and like they're acting out different things, and like there's just no way to know what you can, if you want, you can latch on to like one particular actor and just follow them around. And you know, a lot of people I think do that, and I think my first time I might have as well, because it takes some like confidence and I guess comfort in the space to just wander off and like do shit on your own, you know, with no one to guide you at all, you know. Right. I leave the people I'm with, like, fuck you, I'm any interest in whatever you're doing. I'm gonna go completely have my own deal. And like that's exactly the kind of vibe it is. It's like Meowwolf, I mean. And like, yeah, you go do whatever you want, interact with whatever you want. There's so many things, interactivity moments, things you can just totally fucking dive yourself into, pick up phones, listen to people talk to you. And this one has a very kind of corporate dystopian vibe to it too, and I love that kind of Fallout humor type stuff of where like they just go too far, you know. And yeah, just fucking nuts, dude. Really crazy. Highly recommend. But it was just funny to me that we had that long conversation. And I still haven't got, because I've been playing Asgard's Wrath nonstop, I still haven't bought the fucking course in Walkabout, which is crazy. And I need to. Maybe I'll do that as soon as I get off. So I force myself to play. Because I definitely need, after experiencing it in real life, I definitely need to play the golf course. So yeah, that was interesting. And then I've also been power washing and Dungeons of Eternia as well. They did an upgrade for the holidays, dude. And they added a new enemy. I was bitching about the spaces getting repetitive. They've added new environmental spaces, which was a huge upgrade. But it is, well, the default is way harder. They also added a mechanic where you can change the difficulty level before you go into the mission. And, you know, I'm level 39 now. So, like, I've been letting it, I haven't played it a ton, but when I do, I just kind of let it default to whatever, or I'm not even in control of it because I'm entering a dungeon where players are already the dungeon master. So I hadn't even seen the interface until last night, but the fucking, holy shit, is it harder? Like, I am dying constantly. They add this new enemy that's like this kind of like Cerebus looking thing that runs around very fast, and they have elemental things to them too. So some of them freeze you, some of them set you on fire or whatever. But they move very fast. They have 2 swords, and they're fucking devastating fucking enemies, especially at high levels. So they 100% have upped the difficulty level, or at least the difficulty that can exist because of the difficulty slider you can change now. So yeah, I need to turn the level down basically, because I mean, literally, when I texted you last night about it, I did 2 runs. The first one, I died with kind of some low-level players, so that's not a big deal. But the second one, I was with a level 50 person and a level like 44 person. And we died 2 times in a row in the first room. You know, damn, so like players even more advanced than me, and they're probably playing nonstop, still getting dusted off. So yeah, and that's, you know, before this update, that, you know, not finishing a level was borderline impossible. So if you know what you're doing, so that is a big change. That's interesting. If not anything else. And there's the holiday shit too, dude. You haven't been in? Have you seen any of the holiday stuff? You got to go. You have to get in there before New Year. I imagine that's when they'll take it away. You got to go in there and take a look at that. It is so cool and fun, dude. There's like snowballs everywhere you can hit each other with. There's all these gifts and Santa or Christmas tree shit everywhere. It's really, they did a really good job of holidaying it up. Down by that Grim Reaper dude in the Souls room, they have this huge present pyramid that is super cool. It's like they did a really good job of doing the holiday stuff, and you get holiday gear too. Like I have a Santa hat. You like find there's ice chests now that have only holiday gear in them that you find in the levels that you can get. There's like Santa's candy cane staffs and Santa staffs and like all sorts of Santa suits and elf gear and all this shit that's very holiday minded that I'm sure you won't be able to get if you don't get now. So pretty fun. So that's still happening in the back burner too, but mostly Asgard's Wrath 2.